When you are looking for information, where is the first place you go? Chances are it is Google or some other search engine on the web. While these are good resources to use, I would like to introduce you to another resource that may be useful for your academic pursuits here at Corban University, Corban University Library's website. There are a number of ways to get to the library's website, either through inside.corban.edu, quick links, or just remember http://www.corban.edu/library. Most of your research pursuits can begin at the widget entitled Search All of Corban's Resources. Before we begin here, it helps to have a topic ready. I will be using the topic Media Violence. I do not have a specific research question yet or a thesis, but after looking through the article entitled Media, Sex, and Violence that we found in the reference work entitled Social Issues in America, an Encyclopedia, I was particularly interested in violent video games and their impact on kids. Even though I have a more specific topic, and I know after looking at the article that there are articles and books written about them, it might be helpful to see what is available at Corban University's library. Two key words for my topic are media and violence. Try to find a key word or two from your topic to do a search. As a general rule, try not to use phrases for your searches or multiple keywords. Oftentimes, searches done using phrases pull up little to no results, or pull up so many results that are completely irrelevant to your inquiry. For example, I would not want to do a search on violent video games impact kids. Even after the suggested change, it only brings up one result. To say that the library has nothing on this topic after a search like this is an unfair assessment. In this search, your search terms were too narrow and they needed to be broadened. Let's do another search using CorbanSearch on these key terms and see what pulls up. As you can see, I pulled up a lot of results. I need to narrow my results down as this is way too many results for anybody to look through. Let's change the search parameters from books, articles, and more to just books and more. Books, articles, and more searches everything in our collection, our catalogs, our databases, everything. Books and more will just search our book collection. Books are a good place to start your research. Why? Looking at the research triangle that was discussed in our last session, if you only have a general concept in mind, books like encyclopedias and dictionaries tend to provide the pre-search that can provide a foundation for your research, like the research diagram shows. Although it does take time to establish a research foundation, doing so will produce better research and save much time and frustration with your research endeavors. We are here at our research process. We already looked at one reference work. Are there any more that might assist? Reference works tend to provide good overviews of a topic. If you are uncertain about your topic and need to do pre-search, look at a reference work. We already looked at Social Issues in America. The other two reference works, at least at first glance, do not look quite as helpful. Since we already have one reference work, we are not going to take a look at the other two. We can see that Social Issues in America is helpful by looking at the Details tab. This often provides the table of contents. We can see that this title covers the topic of media, sex, and violence. Let's go back and take a look at the rest of Corban's print collection. Simply click on the X that narrowed down your search to the reference collection. We have approximately 50 resources to look at. Most of these titles are available. CorbanSearch provides the LC or the Library of Congress call number so you can easily find your book. Just looking through these titles briefly, you will notice a little bit of consistency in them. For example, you have a handful of books in the HQ 784 section, and another handful in P94 through P96. You will likely be going to those areas to pick up these books. When you do, take a look around the area. These books are grouped together by topic. This means that if you find a book of interest in a certain area, there are very good chances that there are similar books on similar topics, either right next to the book you're pulling, or maybe a book or two down the road. Browsing the shelves can be a valuable tool in finding resources related to your research. Now, if you find these great books that you think will benefit your research, but you are either not on campus or do not want to go down to the library to get the books this time, what can you do? We have to find these books all over again? No. If you go to the upper right hand corner of CorbanSearch, there's a tab for Sign In. Click on it. It will ask for your last name and a barcode number. This is the same barcode number that is on your student ID card. Click on Login. Now if you click on the small star next to the title of each item, it saves the item to your eShelf. As long as you are a student here, this content remains in your eShelf until you go in and manually remove the records. Now that you've looked through Corban's books, let's take a look and see what some other libraries have. Change your search parameters from Books and More to Books and Partner Libraries. Click on Search. If the title looks interesting but you are unsure where the terms violence and media show up, take a look at the details. This shows a chapter on media violence and its impact on kids. If this were a title of interest, it can be requested. Simply hit the tab for Request, select a copy, and hit the call slip button. It will likely take a couple of days to get in. We will notify you via email once it is in. We will be looking at article features on CorbanSearch in a future session. If by chance your original search produced too many results to look through, let's look at a few other ways you can narrow down a search. Let's say, for example, I am simply interested in media. When searching just in Corban's collection, I come up with a lot of results. I can narrow those down using the options in the left-hand column. For example, I am probably looking for titles that are under the subject heading of mass media. When CorbanSearch searches, it looks everywhere: the title, the publisher, the author's name, everywhere. When using the subject heading, I can be certain that my book will actually be on the topic of mass media. That narrows my results down to something a bit more manageable. If I still had too many results, I may want to narrow it down by date or by collection. If your results turn up nothing, there's one other place you can turn to and see what kinds of resources are available. If you go back to the library's website and go to the tab Find Books and click on WorldCat. WorldCat is a catalog of almost any book in the world. If a library has it, it will likely be listed on WorldCat. Let's look again for our topic of media and violence. If you find a book of interest, it will provide you a list of which libraries have it. This does not mean that you need to go to this library to get the book. If you hit the link that says full text at Corban, it will search our collection for this item. If it is not available, it will say no full text available, and you can request it by hitting on the Interlibrary Loan link. Fill out your name and hit Send Request. We will notify you when the item comes to Corban University's library. A few points of summary. Think key terms, not phrases or sentences. Your search should be narrowed down to 2 or at the very most 3 key items. If you cannot simplify it to this, you need to rethink your research proposal, your research question, or your thesis. Is it too narrow or too specific? Secondly, think of where books fall in the research triangle. Books tend to be pretty broad, and there are some exceptions. Therefore, when doing a search for books, you need to think broad, not specific or particular. Thirdly, just because we don't have a book here does not mean that you cannot get it. However, think ahead. If you know that Corban has limited resources in your topic of inquiry, look at Books at Partner Libraries and WorldCat at least a few weeks before your paper is due and request these titles. Thinking ahead gives you access to a much broader source of information.